Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos. This is my channel where I would like to dive into the understanding of borderline personality disorder and how it's currently going as a mental health disorder, and what we kind of know and understand about it, how people live with it and how it affects them. I myself have been a sufferer. I've suffered with borderline personality disorder diagnosed for the last 6 years. And I wanted to create a platform in which we could all share our experiences, both highs and lows, triggers, coping mechanisms, influences. Sorry, I'm out on a mindful walk, as I say, with my dog Milo. Milo. This is obviously my first video, so I'm going to get down to what facts and that we know about borderline personality disorder, or as they're sometimes labeled as emotionally unstable personality disorder. There's a bit of juggling on the word in there, if I'm honest. I'm not a professional, like I say. A lot of my research is through self-development and self-discovery, wanting to be better and manage my disorder better. So as I said, back to some of the points that I would like to cover in this video and on this channel. Obviously I'd like to hear from anyone that has had experiences with borderline personality disorder, whether it be yourself or friends and family. And yeah, just kind of create a community where we can all kind of help and share and talk with each other. So for the third time, moving on to the points that I'd like to kind of discover and what we discuss and what we know of borderline personality disorder. If you see me looking down quite a bit, it's because I've made quite a few notes of things I want to cover. But so here goes. So statistics, couple of statistics for those who like things backed up, is a survey done by Mind, the mental health organisation in the UK, this year discovered that 2 out of 100 people suffer with borderline personality disorder. The British Neuroscience Association also found that 1.6% of the population suffer with borderline personality disorder. If you're not too sure what borderline personality disorder is, it actually comes from the neurodevelopment and environmental influences on the integral development of the brain's activities during adolescence, from say 2 to 12. It can physiologically affect the amygdala, which is the processing fearful and the center for processing fearful and threatening stimuli. It also affects the prefrontal cortex, which helps with cognitive control, attention span, impulse, and memory, and many other factors. These are just a few I've kind of put together for the video. And these physiological changes during the neurological development of the brain lead to inability to regulate emotions, distortion of self-image, both good and bad. So you can see yourself in a you know, that you're not a very loved person, that you have no good qualities, or you can also see yourself as an amazing person with grandiose things to do in the world. So that's the distortion of self-image. Idolization and devaluation of people, i.e. you'll find borderline personality people will sort of fixate on a person that they admire the qualities of, or they wish to be around, and they can go to extremes of idolizing this person, but then obviously when something triggers the emotional reaction, this person can quickly be devalued and be a waste of space and the worst thing they've ever done, etc., etc. That also can lead on to codependency within relationships. Another point that all this kind of damage does, this damage from the brain does to the future person, is fear of abandonment. So a constant threat that you're going to be left, especially if you're in a relationship, As much as that person may show you love, there's always that subconscious fear that you're not good enough, that they will leave, there's someone better. And in turn, you kind of push this person away to protect yourself. And it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, in all honesty. Being honest with yourself, I've experienced this probably in my last 2 to 3 major relationships, where you push the person by thinking that they don't love you and kind of expressing that insecurity to the point that they feel, well, nothing I do is going to show this person that I do love them, so why am I going to waste my energy and time? Which then obviously can push the person away, which then the event of that then feeds the fear of abandonment, and it can become a vicious cycle, feeding the monster as it, with each time it gets harder and harder to control, because there's factual and patterned evidence to back up that fear. So moving on to other things that other symptoms and stuff that you get with borderline personality are feeling of emptiness in your down moments, feeling unfulfilled in your highs, like you're so ecstatic, you've got to do something amazing, but everything you do is a bit mundane. You feel a bit unfulfilled. And then obviously vice versa, when you feel down, you're worthless, there's nothing in you to give. There's the world's better off if you leave, if you unfortunately, I don't, it's going to come up, but it's a sensitive subject, but if you then get suicidal thoughts, or you start entertaining the suicidal thoughts with attempts, these are all risky, dangerous side effects and symptoms of borderline personality disorder. So moving on to risky behaviors, again, that is another point that is a symptom of borderline personality disorder. And risky behavior to yourself, to your future, to your relationships, friendships. Risky behavior to yourself can be anything from drugs, alcohol, gambling, driving recklessly. Sex addiction is a common one, and obviously this all in turn affects your future, and where you're going to go. And again, these things feed the cycle of low feeling, worthlessness, chasing that dopamine high, whether that be again from drugs, adrenaline, sex, alcohol, all of the above. Risky behavior that affects your relationships, such as pushing people away, as I was mentioning earlier. The distrust that comes from intrusive thoughts. So you may have been cheated on in the past, but your new current partner has done nothing but show you love. But with borderline personality disorder, and to a degree I guess with most people, but it's quite strong and overpowering with borderline personality disorder, is the fact that you will then perceive them being untrustworthy, or cheating, and this can create a paranoia, which can also lead to intrusive thoughts, which, just to give those who don't know, an intrusive thought is a thought that comes to your head that you don't wish to be having. That there's no evidence or fact in your current emotional state or your current life situation that backs up why you should be having these thoughts. So there are some of the symptoms and challenges that borderline personality disorder people have to live with. And obviously, as you can imagine, a lot of these can, unfortunately, in turn affect their relationships and their interaction with the world, and the way they see the world, the way they see the people in their lives. So to give you a little bit of insight into myself, I've, as I said, diagnosed about 7 years ago with borderline personality disorder, and generalized anxiety, and complex post-traumatic stress disorder, being honest. the borderline personality disorder, if I'm honest, is probably the harder one to deal with, because it comes from such a young age. It's your reactions and emotional reactions and emotional perspective is kind of quite hardwired into your thought pattern. So obviously at first you're not kind of aware of it. You have this like mindset like it's everyone else, or it's the world around you that's not understanding you. And this can come out in anger, frustration, self-harm, attempted suicide, pushing people away, loneliness. And I think until you're able to, kind of look back in retrospect and kind of see why things are happening and what patterns are occurring and how you are accountable for some of them. To quote a famous Will Smith, it's not our fault where we start, but it's our responsibility where we end up. And I think kind of hearing that struck a chord with me, as to say, like, it's not my fault that I have borderline personality disorder, but it is my responsibility to try and live a better quality of life with that, and to not let the bad sides of that affect those that I love, nor let it affect the future that I may have and may want. Because I think, again, another mindset that comes with borderline personality disorder quite often is that you don't deserve good things, and you're not good enough for good things. But I just want everyone to know that does feel that at times, that we all deserve good things. We all have the ability to be good people, and yes, there are bad people in the world that have caused some of us trauma, but really they've only gone through their own trauma too. It doesn't excuse what they've done, but we can only focus on what we can control. And I hope all of you are at a point of realization that to some degree you can learn to start controlling, or understanding at least, which in turn leads to being able to control these emotions. Another quick point I wanted to get onto, just to kind of close on a good point, is BPD actually, and some mental health disorders, I imagine, but I can speak personally from BPD, comes with a little bit of a pros and cons list, if I'm honest. Obviously there's the cons that we've all discussed just a minute ago, with the intense relationships, fear of abandonment, unstable self-image, etc. But if you're able to look at the good qualities that it gives you, which will be unique to each of us, because as much as we will all share traits of this disorder, each trait may well be a different strength within each of us individually. So it's also a journey of like self-discovery and self-development. So some of the pros that I find about borderline personality disorder is, on my good days, I'm very confident, overconfident sometimes. I'm very out there, no kind of social filter as such, which is good sometimes but not the others. I'm quite humorous. I have quite grandiose plans and ideas to build big businesses and do this and do that. And I think there's, as I said, some of that comes from having BPD, and also been able to read situations and people through the, I guess, the amygdala been damaged and the threat perception in my brain been quite high. I learned to read the situation. So as much as you learn to read bad situations, you can read good situations too, so you can see good things in good people, and you get a good sense of people. So as I said, that is some of the pros of borderline personality disorder. So just to kind of close, I would like this channel to really just become more of a community support, information platform sharing channel where we can all talk about our struggles, some of the things we found helped us, some of the things we found didn't help us, our experiences we feel has kind of shaped us, our plans for moving forward. And I think through connection and understanding and talking to each other, we can all help each other manifest a life we deserve. Ideally in the future, I'm kind of hoping to grow the channel and do some podcasts with some, people who have experienced BPD to an extreme high or an extreme low, as well as some of the clinical people, like a psychologist maybe, to give their clinical view on BPD versus a personal experience of that. And yeah, just kind of do a lot of collaborating and pushing people, inspiring people, and just make it a really nice place. I don't want any bad Amber Heard stuff or none of that stuff. It's all going to be helpful and informative. Check in my bio about what I'm about. In there is my email if anyone has any questions, they want to contact me on collaborations or ideas. I'm happy to jump on board with anything. So I wish you all the best. I'm just going to give you a little quick round this tree that I've found. It's pretty cool. It's like a Neverland tree or something. Oh, there's Milo off on a mission. What's he found? Milo will probably be with me through some videos. So as I said, also, in future, we're going to look at topics on like medication, routines that help, symptoms that different people have experienced. As I said, different medications they feel helped or don't help. Yeah, and a lot of different things. Like I say, if any of you guys got any topics you want to talk about that are kind of close to home, as I said, this is a completely non-judgmental, safe, open space for everyone to share and grow. So yeah, hit me up, guys, and big love to you all. All right, enjoy the channel. I'll speak to you again in the next few days. All the best. Bye now.